Hi, this is Tara with Tara's Tips, and today I want to show you some cards I got in my February card swap that we did. Most of the cards that I got were from the January to June mini catalog, but there were a few others that were not stamps that were from there. But I just want to show you what all they are, and I'm going to try to say all the stamp sets and the main things that were used, that way in case you would like to try your hand at making one of them, you know what supplies were used. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so first I'm going to start off with the one that I made for the swap. This is a Bridgefold card, and it uses the stamp set Easter Friends. The duck is from the Easter Friends on page 27. I really think this duck looks like Ming Ming from Wonder Pets, if you've ever seen that cartoon. My older kids used to watch that sometimes when they were younger, and it just reminds me of Ming Ming. I also used the stamp set Sentimental Swirls, and that's on page 56 of the January to June mini. And the embossing folder was the stripes and splatters on page 55. At some point I want to do a video making this card, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So if you're watching this, you can check it out and see if I've made it yet, or if I haven't made it yet, hopefully I will get to it soon. Okay, this card was made using the Here Together bundle, and that is not in the January to June catalog. That's something that Stampin' Up! Added while supplies last, so you can find that on the online store. And it also uses the Pattern Party designer paper. That's a Host designer paper, and she used the Stampin' Blends to color the hands and the nails. And then this is the inside. This is from Karen Kurtz. This one uses the stamp set Senior Years. This is actually in the annual catalog on page 86, and it also uses, I'm not sure where this sentiment comes from, if that's A Wish for Everything on page 14. I know that the Happy St. Patrick's Day is on the inside, and I love how this opens to create like a little vase there. And this is the inside of how she's done that, but I just thought that was really neat. The hearts, I'm not sure where she got the hearts from because I didn't find them at first glance, but this also uses that Host paper, and I really like how she colored them, and I would have never thought to use them on a St. Patrick's Day card, but this was done by Gail Connolly. This card was done by Sharon Tong Robinson. This uses the Celebration Hello bundle, where you could get the designer paper and stamp set to go with it. I think her swap came in late in January, and they sent them out for the February swap. And this one opens up like that, but there's not anything to stop it and hold it there. It's just a different opening there. This card is by Jan Rodrian, and it uses the Grassy Grove stamps for the trees and the dies for the deer. They are on page 47 of the mini catalog, and it also uses the On the Horizon for the grasses and the sentiment, and that's on page 43. And that's the inside. This card was done by Kathy Johnson, and she actually cased it out of the mini catalog, so you can see their version, but it's pretty much the same. I think she did a great job casing that. This uses the Home and Garden bundle on page 72 of the catalog, the mini catalog. It also uses the Inspiring Canopy dies there and the Layering Diorama dies. And the tag was done with the Tasteful Label dies, and I'm not sure where the inside sentiment came from, but that's the inside. This card was made by Jan Faring, and it uses the Wildlife Wonder stamp set and the In Good Taste designer paper here, and this opens this way. Great masculine card. This card was by Laura Bartow. It uses the stamp sets Let's Sail on page 70, and the Sunny Sentiments is from, on the inside, from the annual catalog, page 38. It also uses the New Horizons and the In Good Taste designer paper and the Sailboat Builder Punch. So I like that card. This card was done by Ruth Bingle. It also uses the Sailboat Builder Punch. It uses the whole bundle there, the Let's Set Sail bundle on page 70. It's an easel card, so it sits up like this. And it also uses the Gentle Waves stamp set on page 45 of the mini catalog. This card was done by Rhonda Bassler. It uses the Blessings of Home bundle out of the mini on page 60. The Ranunculus Romance stamp set, that's on page 54. It uses the Hive embossing folder there. The Stitch So Sweetly dies, and the Heart and Home designer paper. And then that's the inside. And that was by Rhonda Bassler. This card here was by Cindy Ewerts, and it uses the Let's Set Sail bundle, page 70 of the catalog, and the Gentle Waves stamp set that's on page 45, and On the Horizon for the Grasses on page 43. And that's the inside. I like this particular card swap because everybody is supposed to do stuff on the inside. Not everybody always does, but for the majority of it, people do. And that way, if I don't have that particular stamp set or bundle to finish the inside, it's already finished for me. This card is done by Lisa Matakis, and it uses the Daffodil Daydream bundle on page 37, and then the sentiment comes from the Biggest Wish stamp set on page 63 in the annual catalog. And there's nothing on the inside of that one. This card here was done by Kelly Schutte, and it uses the Flowing Flowers on page 36 of the mini, the Bow Punch here, that's on page 26 of the mini, the Ornate Floral Embossing folder, which is this strip right here, that's in the annual catalog on page 155. The Stitch So Sweetly dies are on page 166 of the annual catalog, and the rectangular postage punch is on page 149 of the annual catalog. And then there's her inside. I like that because sometimes if you don't want to write a big sentiment, you don't have such a big space to have to. This card here was done by Stephanie Flath. It uses the Flowering Rain Boots, which are on page 30 of the mini catalog. It uses the gingham embossing folder here, and it has the pebble enamel shapes on the bottom, and it also uses, this is from the Meadows dies, and that's the inside. I like how that card folds. It's just a unique, different way. This card here was made by Laura Milligan. It uses the Easter Friends on page 27 of the mini. It also uses the Layering Circles dies in the annual catalog on page 163. The Pierce Bloom dies, which is on page 165 of the annual catalog. It uses the Heart and Home designer paper and the gingham embossing folder. And this is a ribbon I had missed in the annual catalog, but it is the Mint Macaron Soft Velvet ribbon, and I just like feeling it. So it's a really nice ribbon. I might have to add it to my stash. This card here was made by Shelley Grubber. It uses the Easter Friends stamp set on page 27 of the mini, and the Pansy Petals 12 by 12 designer paper for the background. And then this is the Tasteful Textures, I believe, embossing folder. I forgot to double check that. And she's got this on shimmery white cardstock. And here's on the inside, and she's got a little bit of Winkostella in there. This card here was done by Lorraine Duran, and it uses the Wildflower Path stamp set on page 21 of the mini catalog. And I really just kind of like that card. This card here was done by Kathy Morgan. It uses the Hello Ladybug bundle, which is on page 20 of the mini catalog. It uses the Art Gallery Sentiment, which is on page 13 of the annual catalog. The die was from the Bouquet of Love, which is on page 11 of the mini. And it also uses the Stitch with Whimsy dies around it. And that's the inside. This card here was made by Barbara Dykhouse, and it uses the Hello Ladybug bundle on page 20. And this is a twisted easel card. And then that's the inside, so I think that's really cute. I like how that works. This card here was made by Carol Slack, and it opens like that. It uses the Flowering Tulips bundle on page 16 of the mini. It also uses the Bow Punch on page 26 of the mini and the Easter Friends stamp set on page 27. And then this would be your back or your inside. And my last card uses the Flowering Tulips stamp set, and that's from Carol Payne, but it's on page 16 of the mini catalog. And I like how this has a different opening as well. But that's the inside. And this just goes over top of it. I hope you've liked these cards. I enjoyed sharing them with you, and I enjoyed making my card for the swap. It's always nice to see what other people come up with, especially if you don't have that particular stamp set. Sometimes it makes you want that particular stamp set, and sometimes I end up buying more, but hey, that's okay. We love to craft and we love to use our stamps, so that's a good thing. I will try to list the name of the stamp sets that were used and the item numbers for them in the description below. And if you have any questions about any of the cards, you can just leave a comment and I will get back to you. And if you would like to order, you can go to tarasyok.stampinup.net and order, and I'll have that link in the details. And if you like this video, if you could please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you know when I post another video, like the bridge Easter card that I had made for the swap. I will be making a video on that here eventually, so hopefully sooner rather than later, and you can see that. All right, until next time.